I have the privilege of interviewing my mentor and one of the most renowned motivational speakers, Viliami Tuivai, otherwise known as Coach V, former Boise State University football coach and a source of inspiration for CEOs, business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders from all industries who desire to be a champion in every phase of life. And is here. Thank you so much, Coach V, for sharing your tips on how parents can help instill self-confidence and empower their children to believe in themselves.
Thank you, Karen, for the opportunity. Great to be here on your show.
So any words of advice? I mean, we were just talking just a little bit before where it depends on the mindset of the child, the personality. You have two children. Do you see them differently, the way their brains work? I know one, especially a daughter versus son. Do you notice that they're inspired differently?
Yeah, not only are they very different because of gender, I think they both go through different changes according to periods of times, right? They're just about 2.5 years apart or so. So my daughter, Susan Mellon Jr., um, they do react and or change, take naps, don't take naps, eat a lot, don't eat. And I think that just all varies during time. And I think any parent would say that. But just in terms of self-empowerment and offering them to consider certain approaches within their academics or their sports, I think really the first step is really our modeling. And this isn't anything new for any parent or even you, right, Karen? You know this, that the real source of how to for us as children when we were younger is was gained through the knowledge and the information and the experience of what's called modeling in psychology, and what it is that we saw our parents do, react, say, or how it is that they conducted themselves. We modeled ourselves and framed how we saw the world that way. So I think every day is a different challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Even now, my daughter's a preteen. She's going to be a teen here pretty soon.
Fun.
For both of them. Yeah. But any specific questions that you might have, I try to just answer that directly. Any specific questions?
I think with challenges, a lot of times we mean well, like my daughters always say, are you doing the life lesson thing? Or are you trying to share, okay, mom, and then you want it to be short, but then you get on this pedestal almost where you think, I'm going to share some inspiring wisdom. And when you look at the reaction, it's not what you expect. Might be like rolling eyes, and you expect them to say, wow, those are amazing, inspirational.
Right. Well, I think one is that I don't have a friendship with my kids. I love my kids, but I tell them every day, I'm not your homie and I am not your friend. I am your parent. So there is a certain level of respect that I think comes first and foremost from the modeling of my parents, that's just how it is when you're Tongan. You know your elders, how the respect you give them. So when I do give them a piece of advice, I do come at it from that standpoint. Like I am the authority. I'm not asking for permission here. And that's going to change as the kids get older. I ask them more to consider certain things, just like I do my clients. But really, I try to really just take a coaching standpoint and approach to the kids. Hey, here's the problem. Here's the solution. And encourage. Let me say that framework one more time, right, Karen? And you could tell me what you think too. It's like, hey, here's the problem. Here's the solution. And I believe in you. I think you can do better than that, or I expect better than that, or these are the standards and expectations in this house, right? Because my daughter would be like, well, that's a B. That's pretty good, right? And I was like, yeah, a B in this family means average. An F means find another family. And so we just keep it real. We just get to the point. And then I do try to butter up the kids when they fail, but when they're successful, I just get to the points of, hey, this is why I think you're successful. If I think there's an issue, it's like, here's the reason why we're having this conversation, because you don't pick up your clothes after you shower and you just leave them there and you go to sleep expecting someone else to do that. That doesn't work here. Do you understand? Yeah, 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 I get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Who the hell are you talking to? It's
Exactly.
yes dad or no dad, right? So and I think we have a great relationship that way. And then I think I not that I think, in my mind, my wife and I are not dictators. We really do offer and ask their opinion on everything. We take a family trip a month. We take 3 big vacations a year minimum, and we travel all the time. And so we also ask them, hey, what do you guys want to eat? Like today, I didn't want to eat pizza. I didn't want to eat pizza today. But if you ask my 9-year-old, that's all he wants
Yeah,
to eat,
exactly.
right? He wants to eat pizza, right? I'm like, well, you know what? Today I'm kind of busy. I'm working on this thing. I'll go pick up the pizza, and then we'll watch this game that's on for the NFL. So I think that's really empowering for a kid, and it shows them that they're valid, their opinions matter. And in terms of our relationship, it works. Other people are like, you don't tell your kids your friends? Nah, I'm not my
No,
kids'
I don't believe
friends.
that. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
because you
I'm their
need to
parent.
have that those authority lines. And what I
Boundaries.
love
Yeah,
though,
yeah,
yeah, the boundaries. What I love is the encouragement. And
yeah.
also when you said you are not a dictator, because so
That's
many
right.
parents say, right, it's my way,
Or the
or
highway.
or the highway, or you know what, get your stuff and move out. And during COVID, a lot of adult kids came back, a lot of friction. And I think, well, my 25-year-old said, you become like 12 when you move back home. You're on your own, but something happens when you move back home, and the family dynamics, right? So I
Right,
think
right,
there
right,
is a way. I mean, when you said to ask and that you
right.
respect them, but then yet you are known as the authority figure. So you're not a
That's right.
friend, you're not there to get their approval. What do you think? Well, I'm just curious. So when you say pick up the, your clothes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So what happens if there comes a day, especially that 16, 17-year-old, it varies when they push those boundaries and they assert their independence. How would you how are you going to handle it, or what advice would you give to parents who
Yeah,
have
yeah,
that
yeah. I think,
opposition?
yeah, like yeah, I don't try to create buy-in. I try to win hearts and minds. So whatever I have to give so that they feel a level of freedom, because if there was such an age or a time that kids will freaking quit, they will leave, they will run away. This is that
Yes,
age.
yes.
This is not the old school age where we would get freaking cussed at, we would get hit. I got raised as a Tongan Polynesian. You got your ass beat, right? By not just your parents, but whatever elder who was around seeing you doing dumb stuff at the
Hmm.
church. And then the uncle who saw you and go, why are you crying? Because I did this. And then he hits you too, right? This day, our day and age, Karen, we would respond, right? The kids these days, they quit. So with all the debate of participation trophies and we shouldn't get participation trophies, yeah, that's why this generation is staying their ass home and they're not going to work, and they'll take in whatever government subsidies they can take, is because we did not reward engagement and trying.
Yeah.
So in the fact that I do consider myself more of a hardcore father than probably most, um, there is a day and age where you have to give so that you can win a heart and mind and know the kids feel like, you see me, I'm valid,
Yes.
I'm important, right? And then I'll listen more. That's just how this thing goes. And I was that really defiant. I told my dad's like, no, I don't want to do what you do, having no real feeling of how emotionally that would hurt my father at that age. Now I'm that father, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But it's just interesting because my son runs around going, yeah, I'm little Coach V, hey, little Coach V here, you know. So it is a different dynamic, but not to say that I know how it will be, or that my kids and I will have a great relationships when they become defiant. I think that's going to be like everything else that I do. It's going to be a whip, a work in progress. But I would rather give in and give a little than lose my son or my daughter over some silly stuff.
I
Come on,
love
Karen,
hearing that.
right?
Yes, because I've been learning more about parental alienation, and that's
That's
when the
right.
power struggle, and you're not going to see your grandkids, you're not going to see your adult children, but the ego is so, you become the defiant parent saying, you know what? You better do it my way. And then you wonder, well, why aren't they visiting me when I'm 70? Why aren't I seeing my grandchildren? So when you said, and my daughter, my 19-year-old said when I interviewed her, what do children your age want? To be heard, to be
That's right.
understood, and not judge, which is exactly what you said. Like you win hearts,
Yeah.
not as just a professional coach. But I think if parents felt that, because some parents think, well, I don't want to be, that's kind of like being wishy-washy, and you're just being soft.
Yeah. Yeah. No way. Yeah. I don't think that, right? And it's like, even if my wife and I don't agree, um, and they hit a level of standards, it's like my son is all about this new video game system, right?
Yes,
And it
yes.
costs like $500-600 or whatever. And he's like, if I get straight A's, I can get this. I'm like, sure. Can I get a phone too? No, phone is not till you get to junior high. But if you really do get a straight A, not in a freaking progress report, if you get straight A's as a 9-year-old, and you're in fourth grade now, and you get straight A's in the semester, that's
Hmm.
good enough for me. But mom didn't agree. Let me talk to mom. I'll talk to mom because now they feel like, yes, I have standards and expectations, but they're not unrealistic. Picking up your freaking clothes from the floor is not unrealistic, right? But getting an A, that is some achievement. And if you get
Hmm.
straight A's, but so I try not to be as unrealistic. I try to remember how freaking ignorant and what a dumbass I was. And my son used more words that I didn't even use the words my son uses at 9, or my daughter uses at 12, till I hit UC Davis as a 23-year-old sophomore. I was on an 8-year plan, right? So I really appreciate my kids, and I am very stern. um, I still knock on the door when I go into their room. I respect their space. This is my freaking house, right?
Hmm.
But at the same time, they're like, "Oh yeah, because we're rich, we have money, right?" Mommy and daddy got money.
Yes,
You ain't got no
exactly.
money. I still keep it real, and they laugh, because they have a sense of humor, because they've been around me when I'm in front of the United States Secret Service, or I'm with any major company or speaking engagement with thousands of people. They see how people respond to me. So I think my kids do. I think they give me more authority than I actually deserve. And I give my
Wow.
kids credit for that. And they really, it's like my wife, it really isn't an authority figure like that. Like I am, I'm really demanding, but they're like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, say that cuss word. They're like, no, mom's gonna get mad. She's not even gonna be here and she's gonna get mad. So that just proves that my wife has won their heart and mind, right, Karen? Because they're
Right,
so
right.
cognizant of it, but she doesn't even go at it like I do. But like, nah, mom's not even here. I'm not even gonna say it. Mom's gonna get mad. Mom's gonna find out.
And that's how the respect is there, but you
Yeah,
guys raise them from the start, it looks like.
right.
Because kids who have been raised as, like from right, as a dictator, they are very, very different in reacting. So do you think it's
Hmm.
possible to change your parenting style midway when you're, because I work with a lot of parents who have
Yeah, yeah,
very defiant kids.
yeah, yeah. I think this is human nature. My opinion is that most people won't change until they're fed up and they need to change.
I totally believe that.
So in some way, shape, or form, not every parent are like us,
Yes,
Karen, that we have a level of awareness that we see some shit that's about to happen. If we don't change now, that's going to happen, right?
right.
We have that parent in hindsight and foresight, right? But like you already alluded to, Karen, there are people that haven't seen their kids or grandkids in decades, because of some ego stuff that happened a long time ago. And so my way or the highway, it really didn't even work in our generation, but we put up with it because that's what was the framing that was offered to us.
Exactly.
Today's day and age, these kids can make money doing everything. They give scholarships for video games, right? And so, but there are some basic life skills that as a parent, we must stand towards is like, I make my kids wash the car. I make the kids do laundry. The kids have to, I'm like, your mom and I have worked for a certain level of living in this household where we should never unload the dishwasher, ever, ever, Karen. Right? I mean, they don't have to wash the dishes like we did. Right?
Exactly.
All they have to do is freaking load and unload a freaking dishwasher, right? A 9 and a 12-year-old can do that. And so they're doing it. They do a great job, and they really do know how to respond according to not just react. And after their initial reaction of maybe some pouting and all that, I was like, nobody's got time for your whining, complaining, and blaming or feeling sorry for you. As much as the fact that you can always lean on us as your parent in this life, in your leadership, and in the business it is that you have in the future, you must be self-reliant, and you must be able to do it in spite of the fact that I could help you or not, or make connections or not. You must do it for yourself. That's where parents fail.
That is what is missing.
That's what parents fail. Yes.
Well, because they think, you know what? You're stressed, you're crying. I'll, put your clothes in the, I had a parent who would charge her daughter's cell phone. Another parent, you're stressed, I will clean your room.
Right.
As an educator, I know when parents do their homework because it's not even in their handwriting. Right. At least if you're going to do that, put it in your handwriting. But I know, and I'll ask them, did your mom do that? Yes. And they think they're doing themselves, their children a favor, but they're robbing themselves. Like you said, you need to be self-reliant. And I love that, that's why you're my mentor. I mean, it's like awareness, right? When you said like acknowledgement and the right knowledge and just the whole discipline. So in closing, how do you think parents can administer or discipline without being a dictator? Some people say natural consequences. Some people are still taking phones away, but sometimes when that resentment builds, the emotional connection is broken.
Yeah. I think that's a great question. And I think every parent needs to go through a trial and adjustment period to see and achieve the outcomes that they want. But really, this comes from psychological modeling is give options. Hey, these are your options.
Yes.
You get to choose. Because if we do things for kids and allow them to continue to slide, what we do is we do not create empowerment. What we now create is entitlement. Yes. The fact that they can whine, complain, and blame and point at somebody else for the reason why that they don't succeed and because the reason why they fail, which is absolute bullshit. Right. The reason why that our kids succeed or fail is because of what they do. And the second reason is because we have created either an environment or a culture. And I'm not trying to say this is for everybody. And then I'm pointing and blaming everybody out there that might be listening that is struggling through parenting. My ass, I think I'm an amazing parent. I struggle with parenting every day. But in saying that, may we have the awareness to not create any type of behavior or lack of accountability or entitlement in our kids that will not set them up for future success. They may not know it today, but if we progressively give them the options that allow them to lead to a place that doesn't lead to something that is detrimental for their life, their academics, or their career, because I can tell you for a person that's spoken in the prisons multiple times, they have just as much knowledge and wisdom that can be applied into business savvy and create profitability, but they have lost that opportunity because somewhere along the line, something didn't connect. They made one bad decision that determined a destiny that is not one that's positive. So that's the only thing that I would ask every parent is entitlement is something that we breed when we do things for our kids.
Oh, I love that. It is something because right? when parents say, "Oh my gosh, you're so lazy," and when you think about
who creates the laziness?
Oh my gosh, exactly. Like, why did I have to clean the room? Then I have to do this. Do we have to complete their homework? Do we have to fold their laundry? Do we have to do their dishes? Right? So you really hit on something where I think a lot of parents just, because you want it done now, and if it's done not done now, then you do it, and then you blame them saying that they're lazy. But like you said, it needs to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
accountability, right?
yeah.
Accountability and just having them. Do you believe in like natural consequences then?
Yeah, but fortunately for us, we really don't get there. Like we've had one of our kids, get some really bad grades, and then wait a minute, I know we're in COVID. Did you not turn this in? Yeah, we went to practice, and then I just didn't turn it in. I was like, okay, let me tell you something. That is not acceptable. Do you freaking understand? It's like it's harder to get an F than any other grade because that means you have done absolutely nothing, right? What does F stand for? Find a new family. That's the consequences. And they start laughing because they get it. But I don't want to be like, but we don't get there, man. My daughter just got her phone when she started junior high, and she's not going to lose her phone. My son just got a brand new, all works iPad, and he loves that thing. And we're like, hey, let's not have consequences. Here are your options. Let's make sure that we take care of this because then now they can empower themselves by making the right decisions, right? And they set themselves up to be able to make mature decisions in the future. Something that I didn't do very well, right? Because I often got older, but that didn't mean I matured. Most men, in fact, to all the fathers out there, most of us men get older, but we do not mature, right? So let's set up our sons. And I say that jokingly, but that's also some real talk that we prioritize some things that don't matter. And the reason why that our kids are the way they are is because fundamentally we must be accountable that for parents ourselves first. Then after that is creating a culture and everyday consistency in an environment where they can learn those habits, those daily activities, and create routines in them in their lives that they gain a level of awareness that, hey, this isn't just for how I live at home. When I do this at school and I can organize my life, I'm on time and I'm clean. And I throw away my trash. These are all things that are life lessons that are help our kids to be not only successful, because the success stuff, I think my kids will be successful. But if they don't know how to prioritize and translate success into joy, peace, happiness, fulfillment, love, and prioritizing family time, then we have parents have absolutely failed.
Right, because we can't just count on money success or, like you said, career success. When you talk about the seven different like you have to balance, right? But when
That's right.
children get so caught up in the material world, I need to make 100K. I need to like be the best that I can without balance. Then that's what you're saying, right? That it's up to us to teach kids
Yeah, that
how to live a
there's so
balanced
much.
life.
Yeah, that joy, peace, and happiness is all around us, and joy and happiness is a choice. That
Yeah.
in spite of what you have or what you don't have, that you choose to be not just content in that you'll never try for something better, but you better be thankful for what you got. Take care of what you have. I hear people say it all the time that are grown adults, Karen, right? Like, I'll take care of that car when it's the new Mercedes. My Honda right there, it's old and run down. I'm like, if you can't take care of that piece of trash, there ain't no way you're going to take care of a Mercedes, right? And I tell my kids the
Right.
same thing. If you can't take care of this thing, it's not because you spend a lot of money or successful that you're going to be able to take care of that thing. It just doesn't work like that. If you're not going to take the time to pick up your clothes behind you here, how can we let you go to a 3-day camp for church and that you're going to be by yourself and not create situations that are problematic? And then you get into it with the person that's with you or the
Hmm.
supervisor that's your boss, right? Everyone's always looking for the easy way to blame someone else.
Yeah.
No, let's teach our kids accountability and that they can do whatever they need and want to do for themselves and not lean on us. So if I can teach, coach, and train, and my wife and I can prepare our daughter to be able to live on her own by the time she's 16, and my daughter's like, 16? You're gonna kick me out at 16? Like, no. But if you can figure out how to pay some bills, prioritize, schedule a calendar, kind of balance balance how much money you have for a month, right? If you can figure that out, by the time you're 18, that's going to be nothing. You're going to be
Yes.
off in college, and I worry less because when you were 16. So then now we go to Target, and my daughter's like, "Oh, I want that. I want that. Can you buy me that?" No, you want that? You got to use your own money. Oh, I don't want that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
That's right.
that's what I
Lesson
do to
learned.
my daughters, you know. Are you gonna buy it? No, that's okay. I don't need it. But then
Right,
it
right.
really gives them perspective and it makes them
That's right.
realize, oh, if it's my money, isn't it different if it's their money? And that's how you're teaching money management. I love that
Yes.
concept. I never thought about that. Yeah, it's 16. And then when they are 18, you do worry less because every parent wants to worry less and you have no control. Once you're out of the house, you have zero control over there.
Yeah, right. Like my son, I'm like, "Hey, you better wake up. You got to do the eggs tomorrow.
Yeah.
They got to break an egg and cook an egg, right?" Like, how are they going to learn these things unless they do it? And yes, they make a mess and all that, but then they become 12, and my daughter can make cakes. She can make fried eggs, right? She can do all those things. So then they're not going to be going to college and doing what we did, eating ramen noodles, right? Not only because that was the only thing we knew how to cook, that's the only thing we could afford, right?
Right,
So they're
right.
going to be able to have a better balanced diet of learning how to buy fruits and vegetables, and yes, you can eat pho and you can eat noodles and Chinese, but you can also make some things that are staple at the home to have you
Yeah.
save money. And people think, well, it takes more money to it takes more time to cook at home. No, it doesn't. It takes way less time to be able, it takes more effort and energy to
True.
wash the dishes, wash the pots and pans and all that. But it actually takes less time, and it also takes cost less. So living that kind of cost effective life, along with, like, we go to Disneyland and we just go. Can I have
Right.
this? Sure. Okay. And then they want a dog. And then finally one day I'm like, yeah, you can have a dog, but you got to take care of it. I'm not,
Yeah.
just like the fish you bought. I'm not going to take care of it. I'm not going to clean the poop. I'm not going to feed it. I'm not going to wash it. And then they're like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of responsibility. Yeah. And that is, I got no time in my schedule for that. But then when you can give them something and not just say no all the time. Then we go to Disneyland. It's like, hey, can I have this? Sure. Hey, can I have this? Yeah. Can I have this? And they're buying some kind of glowing
Yeah.
lightsaber.
Yes.
They bring
Yes.
it out. They bring it out down on Main Street on Disneyland, right? So all the parents can spend all the rest of their money on their way out of that park. And they're like, hey, can I have this too? Sure. Thanks, mom and dad, because they get so tired of hearing us say no to everything. Then
Exactly.
they stop talking to us in general.
Yes.
But then, so those are the things that Martha and I, being college educated and experienced in failing people, let me say that again, college educated and really experienced through failing through life and seeing how these things impacted us, that we are hard on the standards and all that. And in that, I would just say this, because I know we got to go.
Mhm.
So just like we do in our coaching, Karen, we try to impact certain phases of people's lives to empower them.
Yes.
So how do we impact positively how our kids think, meaning mindset, feel, emotional intelligence, what they do? That's behavior, daily
Yes.
habits, right? How they see things is having an optimistic vision and a grateful vision versus focusing on what's negative. And then how they say things is effectively communicating what they think, what they feel, and what they want to do. Now, most people don't have a framework to make sure that they prepare their children before they leave and how they do those things. I would urge anybody who's watching this right now is that we better do that, because you can do and feel whatever it is that you want as a parent, but eventually how it is that your kid ends up is a reflection on us as parents. I take that accountability
Definitely.
both for the negatives and the successes. It is what it is, but we would hope that, and I know kids go astray and things go wrong and it's not easy being a parent, kids, but the majority of it, if we would make ourselves aware, pay attention, and do our best to develop our kids for personal growth, advance them in what they need to be advanced in, life
Mhm.
skills and academics, essentially, as a kid, and
Mhm.
appreciate them, I think that's a powerful framework for showing kids that you love them and they will respond according to everything you've taught them.
Definitely. Well, then you're building resilience because you're not enabling. And when you have all those components in place, like you said, even though they are faced with challenges or they fail, they will have the mental mindset, right? And they'll have the tools and just the self-confidence. That's the whole thing is, right? Teaching your children to believe in themselves. And when you rip their self-esteem, you kind of lose them, right?
Oh yeah. So this whole appreciation piece. So for anybody who's watching, you could just look up the stats, right? People that feel appreciated on the job, there's usually 61% more engagement and profitability increases. And that's not Coach V. This is what the studies reflect. Imagine how our kids would feel if they felt appreciated. And I get that kids are hard, times are different, and that we want them to be a certain way. And I've long since gave up on that. I want them to be a certain way. And in our faith, we are only stewards of our children. Our children, not ours, just like the money it is that we earn and the life it is that we have. God has only allowed us the opportunities to steward them for a certain amount of time. We're family and we go everywhere together. But make no mistake, I know that's pretty soon here. My wife and I, it'll be just us. And it will be my kids off living their life, in which case we have hope that we would have prepared them so that they can work to be their best and live their best life.
What a powerful way to end. I mean, you are so on it. As a parent coach, this is my passion. And I think if more parents would see that your kids, you don't own your kids, because that's what
right.
happens when the ego is
Yeah,
like,
that's
you do
right.
as I say, because I'm experienced, I'm the parent, you're the child, so just do it and don't ask any questions. But
Right.
what you just said, that's got to be a quote that all parents from the time that they have that baby, because it does become yours and you feel like, I want to be like, you just molding it and you want it to be the way, like you said, you want your way,
That's
right?
right.
Wow, thank
That's
you
right.
so much. I really appreciate it. And I will be seeing you later. Be
No,
working on
thank
that
you, Karen.
non-rosary.
Thank you, Karen. That the most amazing parent coach it is that I know, and I'm so honored and blessed that you would consider being on my team and empowering parents as we move forward. All the best to the parents out there. Again, I'm no expert, but I do have some experiences that really reflect that we're on the right track. Will we stay on the right track? We're going to figure that out as we go. But I really appreciate and have the utmost respect to you and what it is that you do for parents. And we
Thank you. And
appreciate
how
you,
do people
all good
find
parents.
you? Because you folks have to connect with Coach V. Can you give
Yep.
your website, social media?
Yeah. Coach-v.com is my website. On my all of my handles are at Coach Viliami, Viliami. And then you can also just reach me via email at Viliami, Viliami at coach-v.com. I appreciate you, Karen. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. Okay, enjoy your Sunday.
Right.
Bye.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Peace.